Welcome, you guys, back to the Mind of Reese. I'm your host, Reese. If you didn't already know, now you know. I usually, when I start these things, I always go over like what I'm currently doing and what's currently affecting maybe this or inspiring this podcast really. And I find it so awesome that happens. So I always kind of go over what's currently going on in my life. And right now I am currently in the process of planning my next relaunch for my program called Inspired Instagram. If you don't already know what that is, you can go ahead and check out the website in my show notes and find out all that there is to offer for tattoo artists and marketing on social media. Now, as I'm going through this, I'm talking to my business coaches, and they are, we're re-going over certain tactics that I had taken before that maybe didn't work as well, and maybe going over it now since I'm already well into the course. I have my students and I have people to basically give me an opinion on what it is that I'm doing, if it's helpful or not. And this is great. This is great review for me. I love constructive criticism because I always am trying to grow in my business and grow as a coach as well, just because, I want to be 100% as good as the best version of me as I can be in order to show up for all of you out there who, really, really look up to me or, find inspiration through what I say or what I have to say and things like that. So I have coaches, I'm a coach. I love being a coach, and I love having coaches because I always like learning more and growing. But aside from that, as we're going over these things, I'm re-going over some of the objections as well as some of the reasons why some people didn't join the course and why it didn't feel like maybe it was for them. And one of these happens to be from actually one of my students who ended up signing up anyway. But before he signed up, his first his objection or what he was really focusing on was the fact that he was only a part-time tattooer. He's also only a part-time, has another part-time job as well. And that he didn't feel that maybe the course would be for him because maybe he didn't have time. Also that he wasn't sure that he was ever going to leave the part-time part of it, part-time tattooing part. He didn't ever really truly believe that he was going to go full-time because he had been part-time in both jobs for so long. And why focus on social media or Instagram marketing for tattoo artists if that's the way it's going to be? And, and these are also my own words after, going back and forth with this person and really just honing in on what exactly he means and what exactly he's asking me and what he's saying. Because sometimes we say things and we mean something else. And so I'm trying to gather all the information here. And what really struck me after reading this, he actually ended up becoming a member anyway, because what I said was, well, what if instead of thinking of that, this is our past and current situation, and, that you have always been a part-time tattooer for years and had another part-time job, instead of looking at that and having the thought that I'll never be a full-time artist, instead, why don't we look at it like, what if, since I'm in this position, since this is my current circumstance, and I have the thought, what can I do to get me to that full-time position? So that's like the goal, that's like the result goal. Then I need to change that thought that I'll never be able to be full-time. And so when you change that thought and look at it from a perspective that what can I do instead of, well, it can't be done, then we can change the thought process and this is where I told him, I was like, well, what if, this program ended up helping you learn how to market yourself, represent yourself authentically on social media, give you the confidence that that you need in order to really, really be like, fuck yeah, this is what I tattoo, you're going to love it kind of mentality, and actually got you away from the second job and actually made you a full-time tattooer. See, and although that might have sounded, maybe to some that, oh, that's a no-brainer. If it can make me a full-time tattooer, I'm going to do it. But is there other areas in your life that maybe this might apply to, where you've taken something from your past or your current situation or circumstances, where your past or current circumstances have dictated your future? And that's the inspiration of where I want to go with today. So, because so oftentimes we look to our past for validations of what we're capable of. And this only works if you're looking to accomplish something that you've already accomplished before. But we limit our future potential based on who we've been and what we've accomplished so far. And that could be so debilitating and so stunting of our growth and of our future. Like if you imagine a baby, deciding, imagine like a baby who's learning how to walk, decided that, he wasn't even going to try because he's never been successful at it before. So he's never tried walking before, but he's allowing his past to dictate that, since I've never walked, I'm never gonna walk. So why should I even try? And that's where I want to get at today. And, thankfully, since, as babies, we don't look to our past for references. We just go for it, or we'd be crawling to this day if we really look to our past to dictate our future as a baby, as a child. And so it's somewhere, typically in our early adulthood, we stopped focusing on our future, and instead we started to focus on our past to decide what we are going to do for our future, which can be really, I think, even almost a disheartening thought, because we begin choosing thoughts like, I've never tattooed, so I'm never going to tattoo. That tattoo artist didn't give me an apprenticeship, so that means I'll never get an apprenticeship. Or thoughts like, you can't teach an old dog new trick, which is something that I've heard from some people that, decided that Inspired Instagram wasn't for them because they have been in the industry so long. What's working for them is okay. And that technology, they never grew up in the technology age. So it's like, why? If it's working okay, then, I don't need it, and that kind of thing. Which is, that's on you. I'm not mad about that at all. I just hear these things and I just find it kind of enlightening for me, because I can catch myself doing it myself, but also just really unfortunate, because how limiting it is to believe those thoughts. And I think that, we limit our potential based on who we've been. And where I find that really unfortunate is just because like I said, we're allowing our past to dictate our future. And we need to use our past as more of like a reference guide, really. We just need to utilize it as more of like, okay, that was the circumstance then. And I'm not saying that the circumstances couldn't have been fucking awful. But at the end of the day, no matter what, you get to choose what thought you get to think from that circumstance. We have no control over the world, over other people, over the weather. We don't have control over that. We do have control over our thoughts. So with whatever has happened in our past, like my art teacher gave me an F on my art project. And what thought do you gather from that? You can have several different thoughts. You can think, well, she gave me an F. That means I'm not good enough. And then from that thought, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel defeated. Okay. And then from there, when you feel defeated, what kind of actions, or rather inactions, do you produce? Well, I don't do shit. I'm not going to draw anymore because I'm defeated, because I don't feel good enough because I got that F. And then where does that get you in your goals and the results that you want? It doesn't get you anywhere. And what does that do? It just makes it feel worse, because you're like, I want to be an artist, but I've got all these thoughts in my head and these feelings, and then I'm not doing anything to create any actions, and then I'm not getting the result I want. Now, you get an F on an art project, and then you're like, well, you could have several thoughts. You could be like, well, she just didn't understand my art project. She didn't understand my style of art. Or you can just be like, whatever, that's her opinion. And you could keep doing art. Or it could spur you to be like, let me get a better grade in the next project. And then what do? You or like, as far as like, I'm not going to stop doing art. So I got an F, cool, whatever. What thought can you have? Cool, whatever. So what does that actually make you do? Well, it makes you determined to do more art, to get better at your art, to show the world that you can do art. And then what actions do you do when you have those feelings inside? Well, you fucking do more art, that's for sure. You start practicing more. You start taking more classes. You start educating yourself. You start doing more things. And then what does that result? What is that those actions result in? It results in you becoming a fucking good-ass artist. That's what it results in. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. So when you have these past thoughts and these limiting beliefs, they can really, truly be something that hinders your future. And this can be from childhood, whatever you believe from childhood, whatever, our parents or grandparents or teachers or whatever, however they, we are such molded minds at that age where we take what they say as almost a law, or we blame them for things. And that's a whole other podcast episode. But that past, those circumstances are our past, and we can't change that. But like I said, we can change those thoughts for the future. And that's why, when I was inspired to do this podcast, it was really that big inspiration, and especially to my students even now that I'm teaching in my course, is that it's a huge confidence thing. Social media is a huge confidence thing. And if you believe something about yourself, like, I can't be in front of the camera because, I don't look good in front of the camera. Well, who told you that? And what made you believe that? Well, I don't know what circumstance made you believe that in the past, but that's your thought right now. And if that's your thought, what are the actions that you take from that thought? Well, you feel like, well, I'm kind of feel bad about yourself. And then what are your actions? I just don't do that. I just don't put my picture up there, whatever this and that. And it's, and this can go in so many ways. This doesn't have to just dictate to tattooing or artistry or being on social media marketing and shit like that. It could be anything. We're talking about, even in relationships, if you had been cheated on in the past and right now and for your future, let's say you're dating someone new, and then that person that you're dating, you're always reactive to them as far as like, oh, from your past they've cheated, so you're assuming that the person cheated on you always, or the person right now that you're with is cheating on you now. You're allowing your past to dictate your future, and you're allowing not only your past circumstance, but you're not allowing your past to dictate your future. You're allowing the circumstance of your past to create a thought, and that thought creates your future. Because that thought is something that we own. That thought is something I have control over. I don't have control over that circumstance, but I have control over the thought that I produce from that circumstance. Now, I'm not saying that we don't all have habitual thoughts, but those habitual thoughts stem from past circumstances or past experience or past beliefs. And so that's where I'm saying that you have that thought. Yes, it could be a habitual thought, but it doesn't have to be true, and it doesn't have to be believed anymore. So I think that what we need to do is we need to focus more on our future, not focus on the past. And even though most of the time it's subconscious that we're focusing on the past, because we are reacting to a past experience that creates a new thought that's happening to a current experience now. So we can change that process around. We can change how we react or what thoughts we produce when that happens. So like by focusing on your future means recognizing your limiting beliefs, letting them go, and replacing them with beliefs that serve your dreams, that serve your goals. Because at the end of the day, if you're feeling shitty, that's because you have a thought inside your head that's not true. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because at the end of the day, emotions are emotions, and we're allowed to have all ranges of them. But emotions stem from a thought. It doesn't stem from a circumstance. What stems from a circumstance is your thought. Because anybody can react a totally different way than you're reacting to something else. For instance, this is a good fucking example, is what's happening right now in the world. We are all going through it, maybe differently. Other people are in different circumstances, but we're all going through it differently. But there are people out there that there are two people, at least two for each situation. Whether you lost your job, whether you didn't save any money before this because, you just didn't think that something like this would ever happen. And now you're freaking out and don't know what to do and you're stressed and things like that, But we're all going through something. This COVID-19 thing is a really big eye-opener, but we could look at it from two ways. We're all going through a stay-at-home order. A lot of us, such as myself, I'm a tattoo artist. I can't work. I trade time for money. And unfortunately, my time is spent in close proximity with other human beings. And right now, we have a 6 feet order of me staying away from someone else. And so I cannot work. And I'm also not an essential worker. I can't work. So don't get me wrong. I will go through this as honest as possible. That first week that this whole thing hit, my thought was, I'm going to wait it out. And that thought, what was that feeling? It kind of felt a little defeated. It kind of felt a little numb, a little just, I'm going to utilize external, I'm going to utilize external actions in order to distract myself from what's really going on inside of myself. And so I did that. Don't get me wrong. That first week I was like, I'm just going to wait it out. This will all blow over in my mind. Okay, so wait it out. Vacay time. That was my thought process. And then what did I do? Netflix and chill, all that kind of stuff, eat too much, whatever it is. And then, and that's what I ended up doing. So I felt like, it'll blow over or whatever. So my actions ended up being not doing anything. And then my results, I just kind of feel bad about myself at the end of the day, but I'm like, it's almost over. And then all of a sudden we get told that it's going to last a little bit longer. And that's where I was like, okay, what thought am I going to have? My circumstances is that I can't work for another month. What am I going to do? Am I just going to have the thought, well, I'll just keep waiting it out? And that causes more binge eating, more Netflixing and chilling, more external numbing and buffering that I don't need in my life, which causes me to give me anxiety because, in every human being, our bodies are telling us that we are capable of so much more. And when we have certain negative feelings, it's because we're thinking a thought that's not true. And so I'm like, well, it's going to be over soon. It'll all go back to normal. And those thoughts are they true? I can question them. And if I really look at it, I can really just, even if it's just I don't know if it's true or not, that's an answer as well. It doesn't have to be yes or no, but if it's not a full-blown yes and I don't know, more close to a maybe no. So if I'm at a maybe no, that's not true situation, then I can question that thought. I can always question the thought, but at least if I'm in that situation, then I know that what I'm thinking is probably not true for me. And so, or I can go, I don't have a job for another month. What else? What other thought can I have? Okay, well, instead of the thought, I'm not going to do anything, how about I think the empowering thought, what can I do? And then in having that thought, what kind of feelings do I have from that? Oh, well, I feel determined to figure it the fuck out. I feel a little nervous, but at least my first word was determination. We're going to stick with that one. What do I do? What actions do I do when I am determined? Well, I start trying to figure it out. Do I open up an online store? Do I start, or what else can I do outside of it? Do I give myself more education so that I can learn new things so that when things do change and I am allowed to go back to work, I'm going to be better than ever and ready for anything at that point. And then, when I do those actions and I figure those out and I start taking actions towards that, and my result, what is my result? Is that I did everything in my power to make sure that this time was not wasted for me because we don't have tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to us. And so that I know that I did everything in my power each day to spur myself forward in the things that I love and toward my goal. And that's the point, you guys. So I'm not like, where it all goes all the way around circle is that not only do our past circumstances dictate us, but it's our past habitual beliefs about who and what we are that could dictate our future. And so when we focus on those limiting beliefs and we start letting those go and replacing those beliefs with something that spurns us forward toward our goal and aligns more with our dreams and our goals, it means that we're focusing on the road ahead and we're excited about the future. It means to create a different future, you have to create something that doesn't exist based on your past. So you have to create a future that doesn't exist based on your past. And this is where we got to believe in something that we've never believed before. Because if we already believed it, then wouldn't we have already accomplished the goals that we've been meaning to accomplish for our future? Right? So this is going roundabout all the way back to, I know I've had a podcast about this before, is that in order to be the person I want to be over there, I got to start thinking like that person over there, which means that I can't keep thinking like the person I am now. Because this person I am now doesn't align with my future goals and dreams and the person I want to be over here. And so this is where I give a mad commendation to my inspired students, because how crazy is it that I release this program and then this whole madness goes crazy. We get stuck inside, and instead of being like, well, I'm not motivated, I can't tattoo, it's like, why do I have to post on Instagram, all these other things, those are the thoughts. Well, here's my circumstance. I could think this way. I don't need to post on Instagram. I don't want to, what's the point? We're at a standstill. I can't do anything. I'm not making any money. It doesn't make any sense to join a program, blah, 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 blah. And instead, they're inspired and empowered because they're like, well, fuck. At the end of this, I'll be so good at what I'm doing. I'll be so good at taking photos of my tattoos or taking photos of my art, getting more interested in being in front of the camera and doing all those kinds of things. And by the time we do get to go back to work and I do get to have a semblance of normalcy back, even though nothing is really normal, that's the way they look at it. And what is their result? They're going to be really good at what they're going to do. They're going to be really good at social media marketing. They're going to have the education behind that to really, really spur forward. And then when they get put to the test in the middle of them working, then they already have the tools to make it work for them. And so that's why I was so inspired by my students and by these things, and that this would kind of just brought it all down to, really honing in on and being honest and taking 100% responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings. Because, we are allowed, or it's not even allowed. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're a human. You're responsible for yourself and your thoughts. Nobody can dictate or tell you what to do. But when you really take 100% of that and you take 100% responsibility of that, then you need to take responsibility for your thoughts and feelings, especially if they are negative. And if you have those negative thoughts, be compassionate, but let them go and replace them with better beliefs and thoughts. So guys, I hope that this was informative for you. I really, really just want to keep inspiring you to be the best you that you can be in your life and in your business. And that is the biggest thing to me, as always, and will always be. And if you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to talk about a certain topic, let me know. I would love to be of some help for you guys. I'm just here to bring you confidence and inspiration and maybe a little education and a little kick in the ass at the end of the day. Okay? So I love you guys so much. Please comment below and let me know what you think. Screenshot it, post it on your Instagram. I would love, love, love to hear your guys' feedback and let me know all your thoughts about all the good stuff. Until next week, I will see you guys back here on the Mind of Reese. See you guys later.